Days. Now on Mornings with Zerlina.
Mike Live. Welcome back to Mornings with Zerlina for Mental Health Mondays. We are joined again by Handel Zander, author of the book Maybe It's You, Cut the Crap, Face Your Fears, and Love Your Life, and creator of the Handel Method and Inner You. Thank you so much for being back with us, Lauren.
Hi.
Hi. It's so good to see you. And I wanted to sort of give people a little bit of insight into your method because I don't think people really understand what life coaching is all about. They may have heard the term, and there's a lot of people on social media who call themselves a life coach. But for folks who are unfamiliar with what life coaching actually is, what do you do?
So I work with either large groups who are in my program called Inner You, or I work one-on-one. And what I do is I break life out into 12 different areas. I have a person dream, like have a vision in each of the 12 areas, and then really rate their life against those 12 areas and start to hear their own inner dialogue about why they can or can't have their dreams, along with a whole lot of other deep work where they're digging into their whole lives and their past and their memories. And basically, I have them start to figure out how to have personal integrity, where they keep promises with themselves to pursue their dreams.
I love this explanation because because I think that sometimes it either sounds too woo-woo or it sounds unrealistic and unattainable. And the way that you break it down into the 12 areas of life, I want to actually dig into a couple of the different areas just to start today because it's really, really important to start piece by piece.
Yeah.
So the first area is your relationship to yourself.
That's right.
And like, this is complicated for a lot of people listening because number one, people have, really, really complicated relationships with themselves, but then also they lie to themselves all the time. So talk a bit about the relationship to self.
Well, you're exactly right. I can't think of any relationship which is more important because you're stuck with yourself your whole damn life. Like, no,
That's
you
right.
really are. And the way you feel about yourself and how you relate to yourself is the most important thing. And if you don't have a great relationship to yourself, with yourself, and trust yourself, how's it going to work out? Right. Because then that being is going into the other 11 areas of life. So it is really the perfect one to face first is your relationship to yourself. And what happens actually with most people I've met over my decades of working is that most people don't go after their relationship with themselves as the most important relationship. They're like, if I only had more money, if I had that relationship, if I had that career, then I'd love myself. So they use other areas of life in order to love yourself. And then what happens is you really discover through the method and through work that there is no amount of achievement if you're not loving yourself. And no matter that you got to the weight you want, no matter you got to the money you want, if you don't love being you, there is no amount of achievement that will ever satisfy that hole in yourself.
This is something that I think everybody listening can relate to because if you're somebody out there who you're an overachiever or a perfectionist or a people pleaser, there are so many ways in which in this society we are taught to get the thing and then you'll be happy, or buy the thing and then you'll be happy, or like marry that guy and then you'll be happy. And then people do those things and they check the boxes and then they're like, wait, I am deeply unhappy. Why is that? I've been lied to this whole time by the society. Part of the image, the relationship to self is your self image. So if somebody listening at home wanted to start the process of figuring out how they actually feel about themselves so that they can improve their self image, what steps should they take?
So the first thing before you even take this first step, it's important to stop taking your human condition personally. You are human, and there really is this one terrible fact, which is over 80% of our thoughts cycling are negative. What? Like, you are talking smack to yourself all day long.
Right.
And so the first real step is to appreciate that the reason you're doing any work on yourself is to get to the 20%, not the 80% of the negative thinking that loops and loops and loops, that comes from your parents, that comes from society, that comes from everything, but really to develop a relationship where you can talk to yourself the way you want to talk to yourself. Not, why am I talking this way to myself? Right? That's predictable and in the negative 80% looping negative thinking. So step one is to actually write a dream or a vision for how you want to talk to yourself and be with yourself as a real manifesto, like who you are with yourself. And most people don't appreciate it. If you've never sat down to do that, why would it exist?
Right.
Right. So creating a relationship you want to have with yourself is an actual thing to do. And if you haven't done it, don't feel bad. Doesn't mean all the stuff that's going on in your head is bad, but there's a large percent of what's going on in there that you didn't consent to. And so this is the beginning of taking over your own inner dialogue and how you feel and your actions, and like slow the voice in your head down to say what you want to say. So the first dream of your relationship to yourself has to be all positive. Not, I stop talking bad to myself. It really is, I take the time to love myself every bit, every day. Really, how would I do that? Right? So it starts you to instigate what you want versus managing what you don't want.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you had me do is write down all of my thoughts, like literally all of my thoughts, the good,
Yes.
bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
Why is it important for people to keep track, like literally open a notebook or on their phone, write
Yes.
down every thought that they're having throughout the day?
Because what happens when you have a thought, if you have a thought, I'll never be able to find love, I'll never get the job I want, you then have that thought and then you go, oh my God, what if that's true? And then you feel like crap, right? So there's this closed loop of your thoughts lead to actions, lead to how you feel, and then it stays closed if you don't intervene in it. So what I have people do is intervene by first just being a witness to how their mind is rambling and talking and what it's saying, and realizing that, and then my joke I make is like, you're stuck on a bad radio station. Right.
Ironic.
Right. And that, like, by slowing it down and hearing what your mind is saying to you, you can then not be a victim of your own inner dialogue, which most people are. And then most people are hiding that they're having a constant dialogue with themselves too. And most people don't even know what that voice is saying all day long. Mm-hmm. Right. So it takes me weeks to get a client or my classes to start to tell the truth about what that voice in their head is doing for a living.
One of the other things that you say is that we're lying. That voice is lying, right? So sometimes you'll have the thought and then it's important to write it down, because you realize when you write it down, it's not true. You're like, wait, that was what I was thinking in my head about myself. This is not true.
Right.
And so this is why this exercise of actually writing it all out is important.
That's right.
Because we're all liars.
We really are. Or we're telling stories from a particular time in our life.
Right.
Like, why didn't he ever love me? Or why did I get fired from that job? You forget the part where you didn't like the job and you were complaining for 6 weeks or months or whatever it is. And then you only remember the part where it didn't turn out for you. Right. And so your ability to loop pain or suffering or something isn't based in reality. It doesn't remember all the facts.
Right.
Yeah.
So why do we always put ourselves in the position of the victim? Because I feel like part of personal accountability is understanding that you did stuff too sometimes, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you are a victim
Yep.
in a certain circumstance, but
Yes.
you also need to be aware of the things that you did as
Yes.
well. Just to
Yeah.
talk about the full picture.
Yes. So when I always have a client have to tell the other side of the story.
Mm.
Always, right? Like what would your dad say? What would someone else say in that storyline so that you can be responsible for the whole tale, right? So that definitely is critical. But when you're really navigating your inner dialogue, it's one of the most interesting things because the very voice in your head, it's like, the Wizard of Oz doesn't want to know what's behind the curtain.
Mhm.
Like the very thing doesn't want you to catch what it's doing. And what it's doing is it's managing, basically staying the same and not taking risks and believing its own thinking, which usually is somehow protecting us and lying to ourselves
Mhm.
and feeling the same old feelings that you've been feeling since you were actually pretty little.
Right.
So studying the human condition is your only way out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that that's part of the evolution is to start to understand how you're thinking so that you can create what you want to think and what you want to do. And so that the whole method that I'm teaching is how to break into your inner dialogue and change your actions so that they match your dreams, which is all forward thinking. It deals with being in the present, but usually most of our thoughts come from the past and are looping from the past and have us like sad and sour
Yeah.
and fearful.
One of the other things you taught me is to focus on what I want as opposed to what I don't want. Because
Yes.
sometimes I can be complainer. I think other people listening also fall into this category. Why is that important?
Which part? To stop complaining?
Stop complaining and actually focus on what you want as opposed to focusing on what you don't want.
Yeah. So the victim is explaining why the world isn't working and you're stuck in a world that doesn't work, which is actually there's a lot of things that don't work in the world,
That's
right?
right.
There's a lot to complain about, right? More than ever, right?
Right.
But what does that have to do with your day to day? Right? What good is that going to do you today? As a matter of fact, all that bitching really doesn't get you to move your personal dreams and your life forward. And so to get that, like to be stopped and respected so much that you're told only focus on what you want, like can you even make a list of what you want? And then what could you do about it is such a radical opposite to
Mhm.
complaining and thinking the world doesn't work. So most people need shaking and like giving, like, please, begging you to not bitch about how it's been and to do something about what you want it to be.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about bad habits because that is the other part of your relationship to self is really being honest about the things that you do that you know you should stop. And you have us do a purge. Talk a bit about that.
So it goes really well with all the complaining and that the
Mhm.
world isn't working. And so usually when the world isn't working and you're complaining, there's some soothing that comes with the packaging, right? Whether it's cocktails, whether it's vegging out on Netflix, whether it's eating, whether it's getting high, like whatever you're into, it goes very well with bitching. And so they have an intrinsically loving relationship. They're definitely sleeping together. Being upset and vice are dating heavily. And so figuring out the vices you use is one of the most important things, because in order for you to have what you want, usually you're going to have to break up with your vice, right? So you want love, I think you're going to have to go out, right? So,
You have to go outside? What do you mean?
Right, Zerlina? Right. So like we're gonna have to meet people and get out and start having fun out there, right? So knowing what you want is the most important thing. And then what actions go with that. And then catching your own inner dialogue on how it spins it all negative and even lies to you about what's possible also will always head for a vice, right? And we all have vices. And I'm not saying end all your vices. I'm just saying know your vices and know what they're doing to stop you from your dreams, right? So the only time a vice is a problem, I don't care if you have a drink. Did you have a great day, right? Did you follow your dreams today? Or are you drinking because the world sucks?
Right. I think a lot of people at home can understand what it means to be like, all right, I deserve this wine because everything is going to shit. Let's talk a bit about family traits, because some of the traits that people might write down that they think about themselves or that's a part of their inner dialogue, they're actually something that you learned from your parents.
That's right. So one of the exercises I have people do in Inner You or in my programs is they have to write down every positive trait of their parents, 2 sentences per trait, and every negative trait of their parents, 2 sentences per trait, and then say how it lives in you. Is it the opposite? Is it the same? Or is it some variation? So to start to figure out, you're an apple off the tree, or is it nature versus nurture? Much of life is nature. And then I make a joke, nurture is what you have to do with yourself for the rest of your life, right? Given the nature you were born into. So traits are like operating systems. And the more you can know your trait and where it came from, the less you can take it personally. Some people really wake up like, it's another day. No, right? Like, why? Right? You wake up grouchy. You wake up not wanting to go get your cup of coffee, or you're like, you don't wake up happy, right? So that's usually a trait that came from your parents, not even like, yes, my mother is exactly like that. She always woke up like that, or my father. So the more you can figure out where you got it from and how it talks to you in that automated inner dialogue, the more you can take a trait and go, this is what I want to evolve it into. Right. And then it really just takes actions, right? We live in physical reality, right? And so the first thing I have to do every day after my coffee is I have to exercise. Right. I need exercise, or I will not be nearly as happy every single day. And you're like, 7 days a week. I'm like, 7 days. Yeah. Right. And every time I do that, it frees me. I write a purge. Right. So there is no amount of being the coach that takes me out of doing my own practices. Right. I wake up with a list of complaining, or however, I wake up with my list of, I call it a purge because it's puke, right? I wake up needing to purge. And I make a joke that it's just like, you don't expect to wake up with good breath. Don't expect to wake up without a purge, right? Your mind needs to release whatever it's doing every day. Right. And then I get that out, and then I design my day. Like our last session, we talked about, I design my day. So I really focus on what I want my day to be. Right. I've already designed my day today.
I have to do mine. You reminded me. I mean, one of the things that I think is powerful about this structure and breaking things down is so many people, and we talk about this all the time, so many people are living on autopilot
Yeah.
where they're just like stuck in the same cycle, not
Yep.
just even with their thoughts, but literally with their actions. They are
Yep.
doing the same things all the time, and then
Yep.
they're wondering why they're not happy.
Yes. They might know they are not happy and they know even why. They don't know how to stop it,
Mm.
right? They think they're stuck as themselves, right? And this is who I've been. This, like, there's like a past precedence to because I've been this way, I can't change, which is also a lie,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, um, it is true the person is going to have to want to change. And it is true that you're going to have to want to love your life. And it is true you're going to, in order to love your life, you're going to have to stop doing something and do something different. And I can't get you out of that pickle, right? Like that's true. But, the question you can keep asking yourself is, have you had enough yet? Like, are you done yet? Is this thing out of gas yet? Right. And most people really wish they would stop that thing. Right. And so if you and I could have this conversation and someone will use our conversation to go talk to their best friend about, like, maybe we should change our narrative. Maybe we should start making a promise to, do our talk on a walk. Right. Like, any one action that you're willing to change changes everything. You don't have to change everything. You could just change one thing.
So if people were listening to this conversation and they're like, I want to know what to do next. What's a small step or small action people can take today to implement some of the things we've talked about?
It would be a dream, like writing a dream and writing, like, it, just keep writing all the things you want to experience, what you want. And then every time you can start to hear what you don't want, put it on the other page, the purge page. So there's like a purge page of what I don't want and a page of dreams of what you do want. And if you could start to separate the two, you would really, you could start to then hear your mind looping in a way that's bad breath, like, not you're yes, it happens, but you're not stuck with it. You can really shift yourself. You could go brush your teeth. You could go write your dream. And then when you start talking more about your dreams, it really works. Right. And the person will go, oh my God, my cousin does that. I could help you. Right. So it's contagious. Right.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very good. It's very healthy.
The purpose of these conversations, you guys, and Mental Health Mondays is really to get you out of I mean, we're in a doom scroll loop, basically, right? We're in the middle of a political crisis in the United States. And I feel like a lot of people they sometimes get sucked into that and they forget that they're also supposed to live. They're supposed to still live and survive and try to be happy within that. And then if they are able to do that, then they can engage in activism and do all those other things. But you first actually have to, as AOC said, self-regulate. You have to self-regulate first. Lauren Handel Zander, thank you so much for being back with us. The book is Maybe It's You, Cut the Crap, Face Your Fears, Love Your Life. And everybody look up Inner You online. What's the website?
inneryou.coach, and I'm Handel Group, or Lauren Zander. All roads lead to the book Inner You, and and then Inner You. Once you buy Inner You, you get to come to groups and be in coaching forever. Like, buy one program and you're in for free classes, and I teach every week. Right.
I want everybody to get help. You know what I mean? Like, the purpose of Mental Health Monday is the inspiration. Obviously, I needed a Mental Health Monday segment because of the news cycle. But I also think that I was responding to the people that call every day. And I feel like I just want to use this platform responsibly and try to give people information and resources so that they can be better in their lives and feel better in their lives. Lauren, thank you so much for being with us. It's always so great to chat with you.
Totally my pleasure. You are the best. Thank you for what
thank
you do.
Thank you. We're going to take a very quick break and we're going to chat with Sharon McMahon and Representative Adriano Espaillat of New York's 13th District. We'll be right back after this break. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.